Hey, what's up everyone? It's Mike Nardi here. So lately you've probably noticed that I've been trying to feature a lot of different people on this channel, from real estate agents to other Fiverr sellers. I'm really trying to give you some new perspectives on how to make money online, how to make money on Fiverr, how to rank up your Fiverr gigs, and ultimately how to create that freelancing business and side hustle that you want. So I have something special for you today. So today I'm actually going to be hosting CarrieBlogger on this channel to go over some of her tips and a bit of a tutorial for how to create high-ranking Fiverr gigs. Now I know this is a hot topic. I've created a couple videos on Fiverr SEO, Fiverr gig ranking, and things like that. But I'm really excited to hear what Carrie has to say about the topic because she's been doing Fiverr for a long time, I think even longer than I have, has a ton of orders, and runs a successful Fiverr business as a writer. So really excited to have her on the channel. In just a second, I'm gonna flip over to Carrie's portion of the video and she's gonna go over her tutorial for how to create high-ranking Fiverr gigs. Before we do, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button, liking the video. Put out new videos every week. All right, let's get into the video.
Thanks, Mike. So excited to be doing this little collab with you on your channel. And I am also posting a video of my own on my channel with Mike's top advice. So you can find that posting this Freelance Friday on my channel, which is CarrieBlogger. Be sure to subscribe for notification if you're interested and definitely check that out. So let's dive right in. Today I'm talking about the top 3 tips to create higher ranking gigs in Fiverr. I would say the algorithm gets kind of like a lot of woohoo conspiracy theories about it, and a lot of people play up the algorithm as this force that is beyond your control. It's so scary sounding in the forums and people blame it for a lot of things, but I honestly don't think it's that bad, and I don't think it's that hard to create high ranking gigs, at least in my experience. I have been selling on Fiverr since 2013 and I'm a top rated Fiverr Pro seller, and I've never really had any problem getting my gigs ranked and performing well within the parameters that the platform sets up. Essentially, it's just basic rules of SEO, being search engine optimization, if you're unfamiliar, and how that lays into the tools that Fiverr specifically allows you to use in order to optimize your content, being your gigs specifically. Tip number 1, I super duper recommend researching and integrating slightly less competitive search terms, especially if you are a newer seller without any reviews or potentially just very few reviews. And I'm gonna get into the point of reviews later on. So essentially what I recommend with that is to brainstorm a list of your potential search terms that you're going to be using to rank your gig, and then running that through a search volume tool to give yourself a better idea of the middle of the road keywords that you want to target. Okay, so to put this into practice for you, I'm gonna run through an actual example. Here we're gonna pretend like I are a graphic designer who wants to sell packaging design. So let's see what the process would be in order to brainstorm and research the keywords that you might want to put into your gigs. So right off the bat, Fiverr dubs the main category as packaging design. That is their primary keyword because that is the most high ranking keyword of the related search options. And then if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of search results, you can see some other subcategory names that they have listed there. So that's really important to note. I started by jotting down a long list of all of the keywords that I could think of. I came up with 39 in total. That seemed like more than enough. And I also used the first search results that came up for packaging design on Fiverr and just pulled all of the keywords that I saw other sellers using, again, so that I can create this big list that then I can rank and put in order. Keep in mind really quick that just because a seller is really successful in a category and just because they're coming up really high in search because they have a ton of reviews potentially, it might be that their search position is more influenced by other factors than their potentially non-existent or even really crappy search strategy. So keep in mind that you don't necessarily want to just copy the person who's doing the best because they may have other factors boosting their search rank that you do not. And while I'm on that subject, let's just say flat out, just don't copy anybody for any reason. Just do something original. Be a leader, okay? Okay. So quickly running down the list, I'm not gonna read all of them, but I came up with product label, package design, package logo, box label, product packaging, packaging box, product packaging box, packaging labels, package box, packaging mailer, label design, packaging box design, illustrated package. Okay, I can't read anymore, so we're done with that. Basically, come up with a long list and then we'll rank it. The other thing that I like to do is I use Fiverr's autofill feature. That's going to give you a better idea of what the platform is suggesting, both in terms of what is trending and the kinds of phrases that people are already using to try to find what they're looking for. So by doing a variety of different search terms, partial search terms, I should say, you can see what pings up. For example, if I partial fill packaging design, of course, is the very first thing that comes up. If you go a different route and start with label design is the highest ranking keyword in that set. And then of course box comes up with box design, also a longer version of product box packaging design. Again, you can just get a lot more information here. The other things to not super fast gloss over, but just quickly say, is you can see some of the trending categories here as well. So one of the ways that you can try to break into a category is pick more of a trending niche that is smaller or more specific, that still has the traffic and interest you're looking for, but maybe not necessarily just the overwhelming general collection of the masses that you are competing against. So here in these search autofill suggestions, we instantly get 3 ding ding dings for some potential search categories that are trending in the packaging design category, which would be subscription boxes, supplements, and candles. And again, you might not know that unless you use this little autofill trick. So ta-da! Okay, now we did all that hard work. You're going to rank it in a search volume tool. I personally use searchvolume.io. I think the tool is fantastic and I literally don't hear anyone ever talk about it. It's really, really simple, which is one thing I really like about it. It is so simple. And the second thing I really like is that it's completely free. So obviously this is ranking search volume for Google, which is a separate system than Fiverr search. Completely understand that. But really what it's doing is it is cluing you into the most common ways that people describe these services, and ultimately you're getting a little bit better idea of the popularity of these different kinds of design services. So the goal is to pick a middle of the road keyword set, not competing against the packaging design ultra elite that everyone is using, but something a little bit more in the middle that still has interest and common use, but again might give you a little bit of a leg up just in a slightly less concentrated search category to be able to rank higher. Where exactly to put those keywords is up a little bit for debate. There is no perfect system for it, but there are some places that you definitely should be including them. Before I get into where they go, I will say loud and clear, please do not keyword stuff. A, it's annoying as hell, but B, it also just doesn't work. It is outdated and it is not effective. So just don't keyword stuff, okay? Essentially just sprinkle them in everywhere. They should very clearly be listed in your gig title. It should also be in your SEO title, which if you're not using on your gig, you definitely should. That allows you to put more of a forward-facing title for customers who are trying to find you, and then an SEO title that's more for the algorithm. So you can kind of separate those two things. And then of course the search tags at the bottom of your gig. Definitely make sure they're spelled correctly. I've seen some people misspell them, and I don't know if that's because they're just following a robot's dumb autofill suggestions or if they just were careless, but make sure they're spelled correctly. Including them in your gig description and FAQ sections also doesn't hurt anything. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the way I see keywords working out in your search strategy for ranking is also doubling as a way to help convert buyers. So every time that you're using these keywords, you want to make sure that it's using it in a way that just makes your service more clear. You're defining the service and what you're offering so that clients have fewer questions about, is this a good fit for me? Do they do exactly what I need? Those keywords can double in that for you. I am talking for such a long time. This video is going to be so long and I'm so sorry, but there's so much good information here. So let's move on to tip number 2. I say this all the time, literally all the time on my channel, and I feel like people don't give enough credit to this, but literally just filling in your gig account and gig details specifically with everything you can is super powerful as a tool to get a better search rank. You're going to want to tick every single box and make sure that the algorithm thinks that you are a 100% prepared professional seller who is ready for clients to come find them. Let's just look at this from a not philosophical, okay, I don't know what the heck word I'm trying to say. Like a personal, whatever, just ignore that. Looking at it from a personal standpoint, humans are designing the algorithm, right? They're designing the tools that the platform is offering to you, and the algorithm is ultimately going to uplift the sellers that are using those tools. They wouldn't be offering things if they didn't think that it didn't add value for customers. So the platform wants you to use those tools, and that's going to be a positive influence on how you are ranked. You might not need all of these things, but again, the robot system, the algorithm thinks that you do. That includes things like making sure that you're using all 3 photo slots. As a writer specifically, I'm not filling up, a logo design portfolio. I literally always mess those 2 words up. Portfolio. So I use those for infographics. I use them to translate more of my personal brand and style. Definitely include 3 meaningful, relevant photos, not just copying the same thing 3 times, like come on. But do use all 3 photo slots. The same thing is true for a video. I read some stat somewhere that I can't quite find or remember, but it's essentially like using a gig video increases conversions by 200% or something crazy. Don't quote me on the exact statistic, but it's something like that. And it can also help you get from impressions to clicks when you are ranking higher in search, because you get that teeny little badge on your gig card that people are going to be more likely to see you and notice you and decide to click. Filling in the search metadata sections, obviously no brainer. You're gonna wanna do that in the gig setup so that you can make sure that you're sorted correctly into the right category and that you align with all of those little checkboxes that the clients can now use to filter their search options. This is another no-brainer to me. Make sure that you're using all 3 of the package pricing tiers system. You technically can still set just one flat rate price, but I've been selling on the platform since before the 3 package tiers things existed. I was selling on the platform back when it was literally just $5 was all you could do. And since the moment that they integrated that tool, there is absolutely no question that the platform was prioritizing sellers who are using that instant upsell option with the 3 tiers. Absolutely do not use the single flat rate pricing. You will be at a disadvantage. The FAQ, that was not a kiss. There we go. Another magical tool. It adds so much value for customers, and again, the algorithm wants to see it. Include, 3 to 6 FAQ questions. Make sure you're setting them up potentially with those keywords. You're setting it up so that clients get more meaningful answers to address their concerns ahead of time. And again, the robots, the algorithm, whatever, it sees you as prepared, professional, and ready to work. I would also add one more, and this might be less obvious because it's not outward facing to clients, but I would even suggest that you include more than one section in your order form requirements questionnaire. I have no meaningful data for this at all. Absolutely, this is just a gut feeling. But again, they're offering you those tools, and they're not going to be creating tools that they don't want you to use, that doesn't have positive merit inherently in who they want to promote as a successful, perfect staple on the platform. Ultimately, every single way that you can show your full preparation is, you're just looking like the perfect gold star prepared freelancer that you are. And my final tip number 3, because this video is so long now, the absolute best way to rank higher in search on Fiverr is to be the perfect gold star prepared freelancer that you are. Not just promoting it, not just putting it into the world, but actually delivering it. I've heard personally from Fiverr staff internally that one of the absolute biggest things that, that's not the word I want, whatever, things that influences your search rank is your gig performance, the actual client outcomes that are moving forward. So that's why you see a bunch of gigs with a lot of positive reviews that are just soaring to the top of search, is because they have the history of amazing client success that as a new seller you don't. And that's a big, I'm sorry, I wish it was easier to break in, I wish it was easier to rank highly, but ultimately the platform wants to promote sellers who create positive outcomes for clients because they want clients to keep coming back. They want sellers to be successful. And what is the very, very best way to promise that, to promote that, is to go off what's already working so well. So with every single client interaction, you want to be delivering early. You want to make sure that all of the pricing is clear. You want to make sure that your order requirements is clear. You're asking questions. You're communicating with them thoughtfully. You are showing them accurate and relevant portfolio samples so that they have an immensely clear picture of exactly what they're going to get. Your revisions process is clear. There's no questions. You go above and beyond. Every single thing needs to be aligned, and ultimately it needs to be good value for what you're selling to clients. And if you do all that, which sounds great in a list but is extremely hard to do in practice, you will be rewarded for it and you will rank higher in search. And also keep in mind that your clients are probably filling out both internal and external feedback surveys. So this is kind of a crappy situation, but it's very real. Let's imagine that you've had a couple orders and the clients have been mildly happy. They didn't seem that impressed. Maybe they needed some revisions and just ended up saying like, okay, that's fine, and they left you fine feedback. It was 5 stars, good job, 4 stars. It was pretty decent. But it was not glowing. You can tell that they weren't really that happy, but they didn't want to shame you publicly. They didn't really hate it that much. Potentially when they're filling in those internal survey questionnaires, that they don't have the human thing of like, oh, well, I don't really want to slam this person publicly. They might be rating you harsher on the internal form, and those less than ideal internal forms might lead you to get a lower search rank. If that happens and you notice a dip in your search rank performance, take it to heart. Well, first take a breath, then take it to heart, and then fix it. What could you have done to improve those client experiences, and how can you proactively prevent those negative client experiences in the future? And not even negative necessarily, but just mediocre, because on a competitive platform like Fiverr, mediocre isn't gonna rank highly. And last thing on this topic, I also should say that instability, super normal. Fluctuation, 100% normal. So don't get yourself in a tizzy if you notice that your search rank is surprisingly gloriously high one day and then 2 weeks later you're back down to a couple pages lower and you're having a hard time even finding yourself. It sucks, but it's normal. Take a breath, focus on improving something else that you're working on that you haven't had time to fix, and it will get better. I have 2 specific videos on my channel. One is about what to do if you have that instability, how to kind of frame that in your own head. And number 2 is what to do if you get a bad review. Specifically, this would be internal review in this kind of scenario. Just have patience, keep focusing on doing your absolute best job, and things will get better because freelancing is a long game. Okay, to wrap things up, sorry, I rambled for so long, but I swear to God, this is such real world good advice that has helped me to rank better. And I have a pretty darn good rank right now. Basically, stop trying to game the system, stop trying to fight with the algorithm, and just focus on what is really going to give you the best client outcomes. How can you make it so that when they search for something, you pop up as a relevant real answer? What are they searching for? How can you answer? Think about it from a client-centered perspective. And all of those things that the algorithm wants you to do, like filling in all 3 photos, including a video, including your FAQ, all of those things should be for the benefit of the customer. Because ultimately, if you do get a high rank, you are having lots of impressions. What if people aren't clicking on you? What if they do click on your gig, but then they're not deciding to message you or order from you because you're not actually meeting their needs? Then you have such a long way to go. None of that work to get a high search rank was really worth anything at all. Okay, I'm done. I swear I'm done. Thank you again, Mike, for hosting me with this little video collab on your channel. Lots and lots of information today. Lots and lots of information today, and I am just so excited to post Mike's video on my channel on Friday. So again, be sure to subscribe and check that out if you're interested. Back over to Mike. Thanks again for hosting me on your channel.
Wow. Honestly, really happy that Carrie took the time to put together this video and participate in this video. I really think it's helpful to provide new perspectives from new and different Fiverr sellers because everyone's a little bit different. So I think Carrie provided some awesome tips, and I'm curious to know how many of you are actually going to try implementing these tips. So if you've watched this video and you're inspired and you want to give it a shot with your own Fiverr gigs, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and let us know how it goes in the comment section, a couple weeks, months, or years after implementing these tips. I would love to hear about how you've been able to grow your own Fiverr business. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, cheers.